Hello and welcome again to my show, Searching for Integrity. My name really is John Smith, and I'm searching for people with integrity. Why? Because our country suffers from IDD, integrity deficit disorder. Today we have a treat. I'll call it a treat, a book, and more than one book. And his name is Chris Whaley. Is that right, Chris?
Yep. Chris Whaley.
Right.
That's it.
Chris Whaley. All right. I practiced on that. I mean, it could have gone up or down. Then what we're going to do is probably find out some things that you put forth with me. And it's all pretty exciting. You've led quite a, and I almost said in with all the bumps and bruises, I guess I would say, physically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you. No, first we have to introduce your book. Now, the first one was The Masked Saint. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. And then you had a book about or around Harold's Heavenly Christmas.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, I thought. I've got grandkids in Phoenix. I'm in Tucson now. And the working book under work that's been put down the production line. I got it.
Mr. President.
There you go.
Yep. Mr. President's coming out Black Friday.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Yep.
Is he gonna, I guess it's what this president, the previous president, everybody's a president?
No, it's a novel that parallels two lives. One of them is a comedian that runs for president every 4 years, and he came from a very bad background, and he runs for president every 4 years, and he gets a celebrity to give him an autograph. But what the celebrity is actually signing is an agreement to be his vice presidential candidate. And he gets a lot of publicity out of that. And then he gets the World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion's autograph. There's a big scandal with the Democrats and a big scandal with the Republicans. I know that's a shocker to your listeners. And then the comedian wins the presidency, and while he's making his acceptance speech, he has a heart attack, and it thrusts the World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion into the presidency, and he begins putting his wrestling buddies in his cabinet, and it turns Washington upside down. It's a political comedy, and it's probably one of the funniest things you'll ever read.
That sounds like a good book.
It is.
Did you involve Tyrus at all?
No, I didn't involve Tyrus.
And that may take some practice, huh? Or will there be some of that in terms of the third book?
Will there be some of what?
There won't actually be any wrestling, for instance. This would be in political more than anything else, right?
Yeah. It's a political comedy that centers around the comedian and the world heavyweight champion. It's a novel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Tyrus is a comedian.
He is. He's a big one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's a big one.
Yeah. When I was in Oklahoma, going through the schools up there, I wrestled at 118 pounds.
Wow. Yep. I know a lot of the high schools, they try to get guys that are that small and smaller because a lot of the schools just don't have anybody at that weight class. And so they get a lot of wins just by default.
Yeah, those are, I think the weights begin at something like 96 pounds.
Yeah.
And then you work it up.
Yeah.
And I wonder if something like that's really can damage people in some way, some other.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? I enjoyed it. Let's see. Tell us about the first book, The Masked Saint.
Well, after 10 years in professional wrestling, I became a pastor. My last 3 years in professional wrestling was while I was going to seminary at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in Fort Worth, Texas. I left Fort Worth in 1988 to go to my first church. And really, I was at the height of my career. I was 34 years old. And I went to my first church, and there were some people that were being mistreated. One of them was a young lady in my church. She was a young mom, and she was always the last person to enter the sanctuary, and she was always the first person to leave. And really didn't get to know her that much. And then on one particular Sunday, she came into the service wearing sunglasses. And after the service was over, on that day, she was the last person to go out. And when she came up to me, she took my hand with both of her hands and put her head down. And I could see tears coming beneath the glasses. And I lifted her sunglasses up, and she had two black eyes. Mm-hmm. And it just enraged me that someone would hit a woman. Anybody that hits a woman is a dirtbag. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, it was her husband who did it. And I told her, I said, I'm going to go visit him. And she said, oh, please don't, he'll hurt you. And I said, I'm not worried about it. And so I went to their house, and I called him out. And I said, I want to see how you'll do against someone who's able to fight back. And so he did come out, and we kind of danced a little bit in his front yard, and he never hit her again. And that was the beginning of The Masked Saint. After that, I just seemed to have episode after episode where I handled things more as a professional wrestler than I did as a pastor. And so I had so many of those episodes, and I said, this would make a great book. And I didn't consider myself a writer. And matter of fact, I tried to get someone else to write the book. And in those days, there weren't a lot of ghostwriters. And then finally, my wife said, one day, well, just sit down and start writing. And I did. And I wrote the first chapter, gave it to her. She said, keep going. And so I finished the book. And then after the book came out, I had a movie producer contact me here in Orlando, and he had done several movies. He was the executive producer of the first three Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies that were all blockbusters. Mm-hmm. And then he had a movie with Jim Caviezel called Stroke of Genius, the Bobby Jones story. And then he did a faith-based movie called Letters to God. And so he was interested in another faith-based movie. And so he was very interested in my book and kept me on the hoof for about a whole year, and then finally said he wasn't interested. But during that time, I met other people in the movie business, and ultimately a producer in Canada contacted me and made it into a movie. It was filmed in November of 2013. It came out in theaters in January of 2016. Mm-hmm. It won Best Picture at the 2015 International Christian Film Festival.
Mhm.
And it was on Netflix for 3 years. Now it's on Amazon Prime. And even after all this time, there's not a week that goes by that I don't get a message from somebody who saw the movie or somebody who read the book. And it's just been an amazing ride, and continues to be an amazing ride.
Well, it certainly sounds that, and it's taken somebody like you, A, imagination, B, creativity. I could make a long list that you're good for doing that.
Yeah. Well, I had a mentor when I was growing up. She was a precious little African American lady. In the movie, she's played by Diane Carroll, who has since passed away. Beautiful actress. But she was actually from my childhood, and she used to quote Edmund Burke, who said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." And that made quite an impression upon me as a little boy, and even today as a grandfather, it continues to impress me.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Now, you've mentioned in some phase of the book, I think so, were there presidential pardon involved?
No,
Okay.
no presidential pardons.
I see. All right. I thought that it was so, you seem to be stepping on it in the right place at the right time, and pushing all the buttons at the same time. Same. Did you have any military along the way?
No, sir. It was an amazing thing. When I was growing up, I was constantly sick in and out of the hospital, mostly with pneumonia. They couldn't find out what was wrong with me. In the 4th grade, I had polio, viral encephalitis. I was in the hospital for 3 months, had to learn to walk all over again. And I had a wonderful, godly doctor who was able to find out what was wrong, which I had over 200 allergies. And so they put me on this medication. So I had allergies, I had asthma, and plus I'm colorblind. And so when I tried to get into the military back during the Vietnam War, I don't think they were that desperate. They told me I'd probably get killed the first day, having asthma and also being colorblind. So I didn't get to serve in the military, but I have the greatest respect for our military people. I really do. They are precious, precious souls, and I don't think we treat them good enough.
Yeah, it's quite a group that was in Vietnam. I think that as I looked upon that, my own vision of Vietnam, I spent a year in Vietnam, and I was trying to see a lot of things that I didn't know much about it. For instance, I knew I went into Vietnam, and I knew a lot of the soldiers were having a hard time about, oh my God, I'm going to die. Oh my God, God better help me. Oh my God, And sure enough, the guys that are talking about death, they're dead.
Mm.
And I had this, at that time, I didn't know about it, but I had this viewpoint of there were beings around me that I wasn't gonna, I'll come back. And I did.
Mm.
So it was a real issue for me and my wife.
Mm.
So it was, that's how I viewed it. Same for the guys that meet in basic training and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come from all over the U.S. at the time, and usually in the basic training, they're thinking about, guys are thinking about, hey, well, are we going to do this? I don't want to do this. Do something for me other than infantry. That's and those guys didn't make it back.
Hmm.
It's all mental.
Hmm.
Tell me about your Christmas book.
I guess I was getting in touch with my feminine side when I wrote that. My wife and I, love those Hallmark Christmas movies, and once you write a book and it's made into a movie, it kind of spoils you. And so when I was getting ready to write a second book, I thought, what would have the best chance of being made into another movie? And I thought it would probably be a Christmas book, since they start showing those movies at the end of October. They show them to the first week of January. And now they also have not only Hallmark showing the movies, but Lifetime is showing Christmas movies, and they have a new channel called Great American Family, and they are also showing them. So I had a great idea for a Christmas story, and so I wrote Harold's Heavenly Christmas. If you liked It's a Wonderful Life, you would love Harold's Heavenly Christmas, because Harold is the new Clarence, and it's just a real good feel good book. If you love Christmas, you'll love Harold's Heavenly Christmas.
Well, I can tell you at about 2 o'clock, that's when my wife sits down and starts watching all those Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
And I'm walking back from the kitchen to my office, and I hear a few things, and I'll stop and I'll watch a little thing. But she like completely.
Yeah. Well, sadly, Hallmark has gone a little woke, sadly, but I'm really impressed with Great American Family channel, the Great American Family channel. I think Bill Abbott is the guy that started that. He used to be the head of Hallmark, and now he started his own channel because Hallmark was going so woke. And so I hope he does really well, and I hope one day to see Harold's Heavenly Christmas on there.
Well, that'd be great. You're expanding in 42 different directions.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
What do you do for fun?
Well, I love to play golf whenever I get the opportunity, but it's awfully hot here in Florida. You're in Arizona, though, right?
That's right.
Oh, it's hotter there, I'm sure.
It is.
But also, my wife and I, we have a fifth wheel RV, and we love going camping, RVing. We love doing that. Matter of fact, we just got back. That's the reason I couldn't be with you earlier, is because we were in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee last week. And going back to Pigeon Forge, not this coming weekend, but the next weekend, for a big autograph signing thing up there. It's called Heroes and Legends, and a bunch of old wrestlers like myself will be there and signing autographs and signing books and taking pictures with fans. And it's a real good thing. I really enjoy doing that.
And you'll drive your RV up to the promotion?
Not this time. We're just driving up one day, doing the event, and driving home the next day. That's too much to take the RV that far.
Yeah, I got you. I had an RV once.
Yeah.
And I liked it, but wife did.
Well, Uncle Joe helped the diesel price to go up about $1 a gallon right before we left, which was not fun. When you fill up, it's $140 to fill my truck up. So
yeah, I did that, and it wasn't too bad when I had to part with the RV.
Yeah.
Still, it was a lot of adventure in the meantime of that. My audience, they should know that if they've got RVs, go get one.
Yeah.
Don't let it break up your marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any, I guess, beyond the books and other, you captured the film and so forth. What's left?
I continue to be blessed with some great ideas for future books, and already beginning to work on the one that'll follow Mr. President. And I just enjoy writing, and I like to have a good story, a good feel-good story that people are going to enjoy. I like to make people laugh, and so I'm just ready for the next one coming down the pike.
You're a lucky guy.
Well, I am blessed and highly favored.
I would say you've got plenty of that to come.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just done.
Yeah. I have a great wife. Yep.
No, Ollie, go ahead. Your wife?
Oh, I have a great wife. Been married 48 years. Met her when I was 16. We got married right before our senior year of college and graduated together. And we've been married 48 years. We have two wonderful, godly daughters. My oldest daughter has been married 20 years, and she's married to a wonderful young man. And they have 4 kids. My youngest daughter is also married to a wonderful young man, and they have 2 kids. So I have 6 grandkids and 2 wonderful daughters that I just love being around. So I just very, very blessed and very thankful to God.
Well, it's life rolls along, no matter what you do about it until you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part you figure out, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think that when you were younger, in high school or college, did you ever think about wrestling in college?
No. I dreamed about professional wrestling as a kid, because when you're in the hospital a lot, which I was,
Right.
in those days, we only had 3 channels on the TV, and you get your days and your nights mixed up. And so late at night, when I was looking for something to watch on TV, I ran across professional wrestling, and I loved it as a kid. And then once the doctor found out what was wrong with me, and I finally began putting on weights. He's the one that got me going to the gym and working out with weights. I really enjoyed doing that. I still enjoy working out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was just beginning to get in great shape when I was in college. My wife and I graduated from college and moved back to Central Florida. And all I was doing was working and working out. And so one day I was reading the Tampa Tribune and the sports section, and there was a big ad in there, wanted professional wrestlers. And so I answered that ad in 1978, and I was trained by the great Malenko. He trained a lot of professional wrestlers. I mean, if you have wrestling fans among your listeners, they would know a lot of the names of this guy and the people that he trained besides myself. And I was just hooked. I was hooked on it from the moment that I walked into the gym, and loved doing it in spite of the injuries. And I had a lot of injuries, but I loved doing it. And if I could get up off the floor, I'd love to do it today, but I can't. My knees are. I had a crushed ankle. I've had 5 knee surgeries, both ACLs, MCLs, 2 lateral releases, dislocated hips, broke pelvis, broke all my ribs, both collarbones. I've had both shoulders surgically repaired, neck injuries, back injuries, over 100 concussions. So it's not a good idea for me to get back into the ring, especially at the age of 69.
Right. I would have to agree with that. That's some smart thinking right there. You can still think smart.
But I did get back in the ring last year at the age of 68 on November the 17th. I got back into the ring, and it was a great experience. I loved it, and it was quite an event. They streamed it, and we had thousands that watched it, and it was quite an awesome experience to get back into the ring after being out of it for 35 years.
Sure. Probably had a good time.
Had a great time.
Chris, if you would be kind enough to tell my listeners where they can find your book.
Sure. Best thing to do is just to go on Amazon. Both books are on Amazon. If they want an autograph book, you can go to my website, which is the Masked, that's MASKED, themasksaint.com. And you can get an autograph book or autograph picture or whatever. And a lot of things on the website that they might enjoy. But the best way is just to go to Amazon or I think it's bookstore.com. You can also get it.
Right. A lot of those are popping up, and that's awful big help for authors.
Yeah.
Let's see. And I'm going to have to tell my listeners that thank you, listeners, and great tuning in for Searching for Integrity is what they've done. And they've committed themselves to 30 minutes of this. And we're just about to finish. So maybe I will finish, but I'm glad to have you on the show. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, and in the end, Searching for Integrity. So long and happy trails to all until we meet again.